Mishnah 23. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, he says, Al taratze et havercha b'sha'as ka'asa. Do not try to appease your friend in his moment of anger. Va'al tenachamehu b'sha'a shameto muta lefanav. Do not try to comfort or console a person while his dead still lies before him. In those early moments of loss, those deepest moments of grief, don't try to console a person. Va'al tishal lo b'shas nidro. When a person is in the heat and makes a vow, don't go challenging him or questioning him on his vow in the middle of making a neder. Don't question whether he really meant it, whether he's really going to be able to do it. Don't push him. Va'al tishtadel lirot b'shas kakalto. Don't go out of your way trying to find the opportunity to look at a person in his humiliation. When a person falls, right, and he's degraded, don't go out of your way to try to see him. And that's, the looky-loo thing. And it's interesting, accidents happen on the freeway and everybody pulls over to look. It's like, can we see the dead guy? There's a song from the 80s, give me dirty laundry. Right? Everybody wants, get them on the set. Can I see? Everyone wants to see. Right? I mean, the whole half the internet press world is all about, can we see people in their humiliation? He did what? Let's go look at it. Right? This mission is about emotion, the absolute strength of emotion. There's proper times for everything. Right? We just learned, it's like, in an instant you can earn, olam haba. Every minute in this world matters. So sometimes you want to just jump in. It's like, every minute I should be doing. Sometimes, you should be not doing. Don't just do something, sit there. So here's our case. He says, Al tiratze et havercha b'shas kasa. Your friend is absolutely furious and angry, right? Boiling over with rage. That's not the time for you to jump in and say, you know what, calm down, buddy. Right? Get a grip. Relax, shut up, sit down. We like to think of ourselves as rational, thoughtful, productive, striving to connect to our Creator people. He says there are times that you'll lose it. What do you do when your friend loses it? That's not the time to calm him down. Maybe you want to get between him and the guy he's going to slug, right? I mean, that's a different... No, you do, but no, you don't want him to cause trouble. You don't want him to destroy himself. You don't want him to cause damage. But, if a guy is furious and he's not rational, and now you try to get in his way, and he loses it more. It says, my job is not about me, it's about you. How do I help you get through it? The best thing is to leave you alone. Right? Not to try to talk you out of it. You're not rationally thinking. Right? The same thing. A person is, there's this period of aninus, right? When a person passes, and those immediate hours before they're buried. What do we call a funeral? It's called a levaya. Right? You're escorting your dead to the next world. And that intermediate period, right, as a person, is an onen. Right? If you're your father passes, you're not responsible for mitzvot. Right? You're not in this world. People talk about, just as an aside, Torah discriminates against women. Women can't be counted in a minyan. Right? Women can't be counted in a minyan because they have no chiyuv to be part of a minyan, to daven. They have no chiyuv to daven, and therefore they can't be counted as part of a minyan. If you're an onen, or your father's nifter, and the funeral is tomorrow, and they look around, there's 9 guys in the room, and they tell you, come stand with us and daven, you can't. You can't count towards a minyan, because you're not chayav. You have no responsibility. You're patur. You're the same way. He's unburied. Right. Your father's been cut loose from this world, but has not yet entered olam haba. You're cut loose from this world too. That you are levaya. You are escort. He's in kind of floating in ephemeral space, mostly in that world with a hand towards this world, and you're floating as well. You're cut off out of this world. This stage of aninus. Okay, this is a person in that absolute rush of grief. So what do you say to them? You tell them, it's prosdor, just a corridor. The next world's a better place. Right? It's good that it happened. Now he's not suffering anymore. No. Right? Grief is a real thing. Right? To be an oval, to have the same way that simcha is the joy that you take in potential. Avelus is the pain you feel in the loss of potential. In those moments where a person is feeling the loss of, I will no longer be able to speak to my father, or my brother, or my, God forbid, your kid, or your spouse, and you realize this whole chunk of your world has been ripped away, right? That's a real thing, that emotion of despair and loss and grief, right? There'll be a time to comfort them. We have a whole process that says, once the Levaya happens, and you do Kriya, and you tear, and your family will escort you, and we'll sit Shiva, and we'll walk through Shloshim, and we'll walk through your... We have a whole process to help you work through and fix up who you are. But those moments when the pain is rawest, and you're feeling that loss, that emotion, we're not Spock, right? It's easy to say, we're a whole bunch of, let's be rationalists, and God runs the world, right? Tell the guy who's angry, calm down, God runs the world. If it was, if the guy was supposed to do that to you, he was supposed to do that to you, what are you complaining about? It's God's judgment. Right? And what are you angry about? It's God's judgment. No. Right? What are you sad for? They're in a better place. No. A person is a neshama, they're a soul, but the physicality side of their life is real too. Right? That their emotions matter. And your job when a person is in grief, so your job is to sit next to them. Hold their hand if they need it. Let them cry on your shoulder. The worst question I hated when I was an oval, a person walks in and says, how are you doing? It's like, how do you think I'm doing? Right? You want to ask me a useful question? Ask me, can I get you a glass of water? Right? Ask me a useful question. Can I do something for you? Or say, I'm going to pick your kids up from school so you don't have to. That's a useful question. How are you feeling is not a useful question. The comment of don't worry, it's not so bad. Don't worry, he's in a better place. Don't comfort a person in the height of that despair. There'll be a time for comforting. Right? The same way there'll be a time for talking your friend out of anger. It's just you got to let him get that through that first rush of passion first and get to a point where there's room in his rational mind to listen to you. And now you can explain to him what's going on and you can help him get through it, or you can help plot out how to kill the guy. But now's not the time, right? No, whatever it is, but now's not the time, right? But to hear, now's not the time. The guy is not of this world. He's not rational. Don't make it worse. Right? Don't deepen a person's pain by diminishing it. Don't make it worse. The same thing with a neder. Right? When a guy gets up and he starts swearing vows. I swear to you, I hate that person, and I swear a neder that I'll never speak to them again in my life. Right? You do not want to walk up to him and say, dude, he's your brother, don't be stupid, and he's whatever, he's your father, you can't not... You think that? Well, not only am I going to not speak to him, I promise that I'm going to hit him in the back of the head every time I see him. Or what? It's like, a person, right? I promise that I will never do, I promise that, right? If a person's, for us in the Dharma are real, if a person is in that sense of making huge irrational resolutions, the last thing you want to do is go up to them and challenge them. Because again, they're not in their right mind. They're emotionally involved in the circumstances. Give them a break. Just let it relax. And the last is embarrassment. I don't know, has anyone here ever done anything embarrassing? Ever done anything that you're not proud of?
Surely not.
I mean, I haven't. But the last thing you want is people going out of their way trying to see you. They want to watch you because they want to take pleasure in your embarrassment. It's bad enough that you're humiliated. You don't need to know. Don't post to Facebook. Don't start tweeting on my... when I realize how stupid I was, I'll work through it. The guy who does something despicable, right? The guy who has an affair, right? The last thing you need is running around publicizing it. It's like, it's a private thing. Let them fix it. You can destroy the opportunity for a person to fix it back up. Right? A person can do something, falls off the derech, right? God wants to come back. You got to leave room to come back. But when you want to go see him in humiliation and look at him and take pleasure in it and dig it deeper into him and make him feel more and more pain out of it, it's like, who are you? Right? The guy blew it. He'll fix it. Give him a chance to fix it. Turn your back on it. Pretend not to watch. It's interesting. It says when Hashem made Chava from Adam, what did he do? He put Adam to sleep. And then he took the side meat, rib, whatever it is, and then he made Chava. So why did he have to put Adam to sleep? Didn't have good local anesthetics? I mean, what's the story? Right? Why did he have to put Adam to sleep? Because he did not want Adam to look at Chava as a piece of meat. Right? Adam has to know that she came from him. But he didn't want the degradation of, right? That's why there's a certain way. You don't look at your wife in certain ways, right? Because you shouldn't look at her as just a piece of meat. You can't do this. You can do what you want with your wife, but you can't humiliate her. You can't put her into embarrassing circumstances. That Chava would not want to be looked at as blood vessels and bone and sin. It's like she wants to be looked at as a person. As a partner, as a wife, as a pretty girl, right? Your wife. Don't look. I'm going to put you to sleep. So this inferior, degrading stage he has to go through, I don't want you to see, right? People, you get sick and ill and weak. I don't want people to see me that way. That's not how I want them to look at me. Don't think of me as an invalid, right? Going through this whole cancer nonsense and all these surgeries and all these things. I tried very hard that I'd rather have my kids look at me as a strong man going through difficult times, and I don't want them to grow up and think of me as an invalid, right? It's not how I want to be looked at. I don't want the degradation of it. That's not who I am. It's not how I see myself. It's not how I want them to see me, right? I'm a strong guy walking through tough times. I'm not a sick guy with a poison port hooked up to him, pumping poison directly into my heart, And if I am, I'm the guy who's walking through it. Emotions, see, we've gone through these very ephemeral, extremely deep, the deepest questions philosophically that people ask. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen to bad people? What's coming next? Why are we in this world? Right? Why is there suffering? How do you earn is there an afterlife? Is there a next world? Is there a soul? We're dealing with these incredibly deep, very out there, deep philosophical questions. Right? I'm a soul earning a connection to a supra-physical creator by taking morally charged actions, and it's amazing stuff. But he says, down to earth, you're living next to people, and they're physical, and they're emotional, and they're real. Right? Don't get on a high horse and think it's all about, how am I going to solve it? Right? If your friend is in pain, hold his hand. Right? If you're if your friend is in anger, don't let him get himself in trouble. Just be there to help him relax. Right? Don't challenge people. Don't go after their emotional states and aggravate them because you feel you need to intervene. Just calm the thing down. So that's our Mishnah.